John, welcome to A House for Arts. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell me a bit about the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall. What does it set out to do, and what is the history of this place?
Well, it is an amazing 19th century concert hall built in 1875, and was built as a gift to the city of Troy by the Troy Savings Bank. And it has been, unlike many concert halls, in almost continuous use since that time.
Wow.
And it's had a whole panoply of great artists throughout the history of music, and still continues.
Some examples, maybe, even from early history or even today?
Sure. Rachmaninoff, Ella Fitzgerald, Benny Goodman, Sarah Vaughan, Wynton Marsalis, Yo-Yo Ma, Trey Anastasio, Elvis Costello, Diana Krall. I mean, the list just goes on.
Everybody who is anybody,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. But it's well renowned for its acoustic environment, and we continue to do a lot of recordings there because it's a really special place. It's known really around the world, especially in the recording industry, because it's a very, very special place.
And what kinds of musical performances have you done more recently that are really memorable? Do you have any favorites at all from the music hall?
My goodness, it's hard to select from among your children, but the Trey Anastasio show was awesome. The Elvis Costello show. Lyle Lovett loves to play our hall, and he always puts on a really good show. So, so many good memories.
Well, with so many musicians coming through, John, are you a musician yourself? How did you become executive director of the music hall?
Well, it doesn't have to do with my musical talent, but I am a recovering musician.
Recovering.
Yes. But I don't play anymore. But I got into this business, gosh, almost 30 years ago. Have been in Troy for about 10 years now. Came here from Minneapolis area, but I've been kind of doing this gig in various locations for quite some time, and it was a real pleasure to come to Troy. I've never worked in a historic concert hall before, so that was a new experience, and to work in one so special as this one was a real honor.
You know, I know that the acoustics make the music hall very distinct, and maybe you could tell me a bit more about that, but are there any other things that make the music hall distinct from other venues, not just in the region, but also nationally?
Well, it's a unique physical space. It exists on the third floor of the building. So if you come in, there's no major lobby or anything. You have to take the elevator or stairs and go up to the hall itself. The seating is original, so it has its own idiosyncrasies. It's a little tighter than maybe some other buildings, but we've been hesitant to do anything because we don't want to jeopardize the acoustic environment.
Right.
But the acoustics were really achieved when the organ that lives above the stage platform was installed, which is about 15 years after the hall was built.
Okay.
So they had to build
about 1890?
Correct, yes. So they had to build a platform to put the organ on, and that created a cove over the stage, which then created kind of a natural shell, which brings the sound out into the theater house. And that was transformative for the hall, really. That's when it started to acquire the reputation that it has today.
Now, back in May of this year, you talked with us virtually through Zoom about the music hall, about the importance of funding the arts. What is the situation for the music hall today, and how is the music hall, kind of working with and adapting to the current pandemic and all the sort of restrictions and limitations that come with that?
Well, I don't think it's too strong to say that the arts are in crisis right now, particularly the performing arts. It's very, very difficult. We don't really have a timeline on when we can reopen. We're hopeful that will be soon. We're planning for a reopening, but we don't know what the timing is. We continue to do recording, both audio and video recording in the hall, and that's been terrific. And we'll do some streaming events, and you can look forward to seeing some of those broadcast on various media.
Great. And where can viewers or visitors or anybody interested find information about some of these events? On
our website, troymusichall.org, and we post all that information. We have a lot of free content, and then there's some options to pay for content for different performances.
Great. Can you give me some examples of what types of things people might expect to see streaming on the website, or anything even further into the future?
Well, we're streaming a number of popular performers. We have streams from Rufus Wainwright, Taj Mahal, Keb Mo going on right now throughout the next couple of months. But we're going to be featuring some Troy-based artists next. Hopefully in about a week or two, we will have a video that the Sea, which is a Troy-based band, that they're just wonderful. And they recorded at the Hall a couple of weeks ago, and we'll premiere that fairly soon.
I've heard the Sea, they're fantastic.
They are fantastic,
Yeah.
and they're such lovely people. Chuck and Mira are some of my favorite people around. So really great to have them, and they've been so supportive in this difficult time. And then we've actually begun a new project. We began to think about what we could do during this downtime, this pause. And we thought about creating new work, and that maybe this would be an impetus to really delve into the creative process. So we are collaborating with a couple of other Troy-based musicians, Sam Torres and Sofia Vastek.
Okay.
And they are developing, they're providing artistic direction for a commissioning project. So we're commissioning new work based around the theme of social isolation and the experience that we've all collectively had.
Right.
And that's just wrapping up now, and we hope to release those videos relatively soon.
You know, it sounds like the work you're doing at the Music Hall, especially right now, is really in service to local communities in a number of ways. And maybe there are other ways in which you could flesh that out a bit. But I'm kind of wondering, too, on the obverse, what can local communities, what can American citizens, what can government institutions do to help places like the Troy Savings Bank Music Hall and similar venues across the country?
Sure. Well, we've all lost significant share of our revenue, our earned revenue. And we are going to rely on the contributions from individuals, corporations, and federal, state governments. We're very hopeful that this new pandemic relief bill will pass, and the Save Our Stages Act, which is included within that, will pass, and that will provide some relief. But we've always been very thankful for the support we've gotten from the community. There's a lot of love for the Music Hall, which is very gratifying to me personally. And we are dependent on that at this point to survive for however long it ends up being before we can actually start putting on shows again.
Right. Why is it important to bring music and live performances to people? I mean, we often hear discourse about, of course, medicine and food and things are, of course, essential. But what might make, live music and stage performances essential to everybody?
Well, the irony here is that the music provides an opportunity for people to gather together and share an experience. And that has, for as long as people have been around, has been an important part of humanity. And without that, there's a gap, and there's a sense of loss. So that's what we'd like to bring back when we can.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, John, for being on A House for Arts. It was a pleasure having you, and I can't wait to check out some of the streaming content that you have going on for the Music Hall.
Well, thanks so much. It's great being here.